Welcome to Soul Loom, a space where the threads of lived experience, energy, and insight are gently woven into a path of remembering, reconnection, and becoming. Today, we're exploring how structured systems of self-understanding can become living, breathing practices of awareness, and how contemplation itself can open us up to the subtle dialogue of energy that moves through life. My guest today is Brenda Lee Mattausch, the founder of Attuned Guidance and known as a heart-mind navigator. Brenda is a true spiritual wisdom keeper and mindset coach who empowers individuals to break free from limiting beliefs and reclaim their personal power, living with greater heart coherence and conscious awareness. As a Gene Keys guide, she illuminates each person's unique roadmap, helping them deepen their understanding of their innate gifts. She's also an accomplished online course creator whose self-paced programs teach how the universe communicates through what she calls the quantum field, inviting us to trust that guidance, rewrite our narratives, and align more consciously with the flow of life. Brenda, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here with me today.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you. I really am. Thank you, Michelle.
So before we deep dive into the conversation around energy and awareness, I'd love to begin with the foundations of your work because many of my listeners probably are hearing the word Gene Keys for the first time. So let's start at the beginning. What exactly are Gene Keys? Who developed them and how long have you been working with this? And what drew you to it originally?
So I'll start with who developed it. And his name is Richard Rudd, and he's a beautiful poet. And he has a mystical essence about him. And about 25 years ago, he was sitting by himself and he had a conscious experience where he was one with the conscious field. And he kind of danced and swam in that, my words, for about 3 days. And in this 3 days, this 64 gene key system was downloaded in his awareness and it activated into his DNA. And he spent many, many years implementing the program, which we now call Gene Keys. And it's a magical system. I was introduced to Gene Keys on Maui with my first reading in 2017. And the moment that I had my session, it activated something into me in a knowing that I was designed perfectly my entire life. And my life flashed before my eyes on everything I had ever criticized about myself, thinking that something was wrong with me. And when somebody showed me this map of me that was unique to me, kind of a soul map, I fully believed it. And I was like, I was designed this way. I'm supposed to think this way and act this way. I'm supposed to be in these experiences. This is who I am. Why have I ever tried to change it? And that prompted me to study it extensively for myself, right? And then as I was studying, I realized this is not a platform to study. This is wisdom to unlock inside of me. And I did it for so many years. It's been almost 9 years now, and I became a guide. And now I hold space for others that are honestly willing to open their heart to the fact that they're designed perfectly, that there's never been anything wrong with them. And the shadows and the gifts and the CD are three kind of levels. And the shadow is kind of where we vibrate in when we're very young, and it goes in 7-year cycles. And that shadow is what people think something is wrong. If we just use one of them, like conflict, if people have a shadow of conflict, they'll be afraid of conflict. So they'll shut down. They won't speak their truth. They won't set boundaries. They'll be afraid that somebody's going to get upset. And so they'll always want to prevent that, right? But the gift of conflict is diplomacy, to see both sides of the conversation, to not think that anything that comes up that's different is a conflict. And through that movement of shining the light on the light of the shadow of conflict, diplomacy bursts you into a higher essence, a higher view of your awareness to see that you're at peace no matter what's happening around you, no matter what anybody else thinks. Who are you? How are you communicating? You know, it's a tool, Michelle. Everybody has tools. There's astrology and human design and gene keys and Taoism, and there's a million things that you can use as tools. Gene Keys is one that spoke to me, and it really helps people understand and have full acceptance of who they are.
Oh, I 100% agree, because you mentioned a soul map, and that's what I do. I look at people's natal chart and their transits and their progressed moons and their human design. And part of that human design are the gene keys, although you don't pull them out quite as intricately as you would do in just a solo gene key reading. But that energy that we determine to be born with, and that's what we do. We determine that we want to come in under that sky at the time of our birth. Once you understand that energy, it just makes navigating this human experience so much more easy. And it's a free resource. It's just there for you to tap into. Once you understand what your astrological and human design type is,
Yes.
then the rest just unfolds for you.
Yeah, it's happening automatically, but when you bring your awareness to it, like human design is lovely because it kind of gives you an overall of how you're designed. Gene Keys is the essence inside, right? The Gene Keys wisdom activates inside of your DNA. And it really shows you, the more you contemplate inward on that, the more it expands and shows you, and the more self-acceptance you can have. And when you have that self-acceptance and you honor who you are, the wisdom just unlocks and it reveals all the gifts. And then you could start sharing this in your experience, in your life, in your work, in your relationships. It's quite magical.
So that brings me to the next thing that I want to talk about. So when we look at the gene keys, it's very much a process of contemplation. So can you explain what that process looks like in practice, and how contemplation differs from more traditional meditation and mindfulness type practices?
So contemplation is definitely offered by Richard. He has a great little book of the art of contemplation that's a delicious little read and helps people learn quite quickly. So meditation for me is, meditation has so many facets, right? So there's so many different things that you can do with meditation, right? But if I was just to bring it down, it's a structured practice, right? That offers techniques, focusing the mind to achieve a state of, relaxation. But again, depending on what type of meditation you're doing, it's totally different than contemplation. And mindfulness is about full present moment, but mindfulness can take 500 different paths also, right? So contemplation is really about getting to know your inner self, right? It emphasizes a deeper reflection. It wants you to be specific and ask questions that only you can ask yourself, right? And it's about you understanding why you're even here in this existence, right? And so contemplation goes quite deep, and for some that's really hard to do, and that's why Richard's book is just amazing, because it gives you the step by step, but encourages you to observe your thoughts and feelings with no judgment, right? Because most of the things that we're experiencing is self-judgment, right? We're projecting out a judgment field, but it's really all anything that we're judging out there is self-judgment. And so contemplation helps you go in and ask the questions, is if there's any truth to that. And there's different levels of contemplation, but that's kind of the differences between the three in a short little snippet.
So just to expand more on the gene keys, I don't know, ideology. I think there's 64 gene keys.
Keys.
Yeah. So can you just explain, and it's probably difficult to do briefly because 64 gene keys, but can you just explain to the listeners an overall sort of idea of what the gene keys are, what they demonstrate to us or show us, and why they're so important to understand?
Yeah, so if we were just looking at the outer circle of a Gene Keys map, the top would be your life's purpose, right? And the Gene Keys are based on your birth date, the time, and the place of birth, right?
Mhm.
And so it's very unique to your signature on that very spot on the planet where you were born and what time you were born in. And so you have the evolution, the radiance, and the purpose, right? This is just going through the outer keys. And each one of those has a shadow, a gift, and a CD. And again,
Mhm.
the shadow is something that you're working through. It's something that you were born with, that you're trying to overcome. But you can only overcome anything by full self acceptance that it's you, that you're designed this way without shame or guilt, right? Fully embracing all that you are and truly what you're here to experience. Because, the gifts don't come. Richard talks about the seed is the shadow. It was planted within your DNA, right? And everybody just wants to get to the good stuff, but you've got to go through the trials and tribulations and the struggles of life to get to the other side, to even know the duality of the experience, the other side of the coin. And so the seed is the shadow. And then the gift starts, growing the plant. And the CD is the fruit that you bear, the wisdom that comes. And that wisdom is your conscious awareness of constantly expanding to see yourself in the world, to see who you are, it's a remembrance that happens, right? And so, just like human design, the life's work can kind of give you a kind of a window into what you should be doing, right? So, my gene keys is I'm a teacher. So, I've been teaching and trying to teach and fix and help and rescue people since I was 6 years old, right? I was a little girl telling everybody what to do and don't do that and do this. So, if you can go back to your childhood, you can probably look at your life's work and see a correlation that your inner child was trying to show you that, right? But then, we go to school, we get programmed, we're in the system, and we're working. And then you get to a certain age where you can kind of circle back and go, oh my gosh, I was doing what I'm doing now when I was a kid, right? And it's quite powerful. So the gene keys, again, one tool in your toolbox, right? It's not a one fits all. Some people will resonate with human design or astrology more than gene keys. I think with gene keys, they try to study it and investigate it deep into trying to understand how it works. But really, the investigation needs to come inside as to how you work, because the wisdom of the key, again, the gene keys is just the map. The activations are happening within you. And the map is just kind of giving you points of reference of what you're going through.
Mm. It's
So
so interesting.
yeah, it's such
And
it's a magical system. It spoke to me, it activated me. And I use it in coaching. Sometimes if I'm not doing a gene key session, I'll use it in my coaching sessions just to kind of show people how perfectly designed they are to get them out of their head and drop into the heart where the truth lies.
and it's so interesting how in the gene keys, Richard calls it the shadow. But all of those energetic frameworks that we have available to us, everything that's combined around that natal information, how that past lesson filters through everything. So in astrology, it's filtering in through what your South Node is showing you. And that's the energy that you've brought in with you, that you've decided this is what I want to work on in this lifetime. And this is the thing that's going to be my challenge that I have to push out of. And then then you walk through the gene keys and the human design, and it comes out there as well that, this is the thing that I've brought back in with me. And often until we realize that, we keep seeing those repeating patterns over and over, and things keep hitting us in the back of the head. And then
Yes.
when you suddenly can bring this to people and you go, well, that's why. That's the lesson you've brought in with you. And
Yeah, it's part of the
because you're
process.
not, yeah, because you're not seeing it, it will keep coming at you until you go, okay, enough, and move on. So it's just so interesting how that weaves through all of those energetic frameworks.
Yeah, and the Jinkies is so delicious for me because I sit in my CD because I've studied it for so long and I have such self-awareness, right? That I am constantly holding myself accountable to come back to me. In every
Mm.
situation that I encounter, I come back to myself That's what the teaching taught me most of all.
Mm.
But, even when you're sitting up in those CDs, right, which is Richard calls the genius, right? You've activated some conscious wisdom that you're kind of just living most of your awareness, because that's all we really are, is awareness. Every once in a while, I'll get a little tap on the shoulder, and one of my keys will drop me into my shadow, and I'll be in an experience out in public. And somehow I'll be saying something, and I'll be judging something, and I'll watch myself doing it. And I go, oh my gosh, my soul just dropped me back into my shadow, because that's the only place you receive the gift from. You got to shine the light on the darkness again. And so I'll be so aware that in this moment, even though I hear me judging or speaking of something, that I'm being shown a bigger picture. So I bring my awareness to, I'm watching myself level up another level, because you're always leveling up. It never ends unless you're going to leave the planet, right? And then all of a sudden I'll see it. And then when I get back into the gift and CD, I see something I never saw before. So we want to get people to out of the living from the shadow frequencies all day, because that's manifesting your life. And maybe that was good, but maybe you want new experiences. But you always will get a little tap on the shoulder. Your shadows will be with you your whole life. That's full self-acceptance, that I was designed this way to receive this wisdom through my stuff. And when I honor that, it gives me another level, another gift, and I just keep graduating to a higher level of awareness.
And I think that's where a lot of people find it challenging when they move into any form of spiritual practice, even at the very foundational level, that they think they become very judgmental of themselves, because I think they think, well, I have to be perfect. It's like, no, it's not about that. It's about the awareness of what you need to be doing that's authentic and truthful. And as you said, it's being aware that you try not to do those things, but you will still slip back into it, because we are humans. It's a human experience. But every time you do, it's having that awareness and to then contemplate on what you're recognizing that you're doing, to then go, okay, hang on. I just allowed myself to sit back down there. So why? What triggered it? What caused it? Even to contemplate, are the people who I'm around the people that I need to be around, if I find that when I'm in those situations, I keep going back to that part of me that I don't like. So that's true, that you constantly seeing those little flickers all the time, just to say, well, level up, raise your vibration, come out of it. And it's not at all about perfection. It's about being aware and continually contemplating, like, whoa, what just happened?
Oh, so I think we should just offer your listeners a really wonderful gift right now that they can take with them for the rest of their life. Are you ready?
Oh,
There is
sure.
no perfection. There's no
Oh, there
perfection.
is.
There's
There is
no
no perfection.
perfection. Stop trying to achieve it, reach it, look for it. Stop criticizing yourself. It doesn't exist.
Mm,
That's the hook, right? And the comparison, comparing yourself against another. And this is the hook that's keeping people trapped in the fact that they think anything is wrong with them. There's never been anything wrong with anybody. There
mm.
can't be, because you're uniquely you. You're the one trying to remember who you are. And if you're part of the creation, which I believe, God, source, creator of all that is and ever will be, and I'm a spark of that, then that creation is within me. I can't make a wrong move. It's
That's right.
impossible, because
Mm,
I'm co-creating in every moment. And the more you do this work, which whatever tool works for you, you
mm.
constantly come back to yourself. You'll start realizing that you were the one that put you in all those situations to begin with, so that you could come back and find out how wonderful you are, right?
Mm.
But part of the human evolution is to go through the programming, the hooks, the karmic threads, the soul map of what you were destined, your ancestral lineage, to be able to come back to the awareness that you are always divine and perfect. And that's
Mm.
within. And if you're looking for perfect out, you just won't find it. You might have tiny little temporary moments where you feel oh, I got the best house or the best car, but in a year that house is old, that car's old, it won't be perfect anymore. The perfection of your viewing your essence is within.
That's right. And for people who are listening who really don't know how to recognize that, if everything you're doing isn't joyful and it isn't making you enjoy every moment you're awake, then let it go.
Let
And
it go.
if striving for perfection, or however you want to look at it, you know, the better job, the better life, the better partner, the better house, whatever the thing is you're pushing towards, if it's not a joyful experience, and when you
Yeah.
get there, if it's not a joyful experience, then just let it go, because that's not what it's all about. And
Yeah. Yeah.
you can
And
live
ask
much more
yourself, do you really
calmly.
want that.
Yeah. And it's such a calmer place to live from once you sort of realize that that's not what it's about.
Yeah, most people don't even want that. They just see other people having it and they assume that everybody's happy and that it's wonderful. But
Mm.
most people don't want all that, because with all of that that they think they want comes a lot of things to manage it. And
Yeah.
life can
If the
become
grass only looks greener, it isn't necessarily greener once you
yeah.
get there.
I mean, yeah, it's really about starting to bring your awareness to, what thoughts do I have? Are these my thoughts? Who's saying that in my head? Is that my thought? Is that my belief? Is that how I feel truly? Or is that something that I've just grown up with and my family taught that to me? To start
Mm,
looking into, do I really want this, or did my parents want it, or do my friends all have it so I feel different because I don't have what they have? Well,
mm,
if you're feeling in lack because your friends have something, and you feel like you have to match that, you're with the wrong friend group, because all your friends would accept you for how you are. They wouldn't expect you to, right? And I think this
mm,
is what's happening in the world now. We're all starting to realize that this charade, this facade, this illusion that everybody's supposed to act like and do alike, it's separated us, right?
mm, mm.
And we need to come back together and everybody find out who you are, and then express that authentic part of yourself, that version of you. It's the only one you can show up with. And it's divine and it won't match another. And when you're free to live that way, it's so liberating, Michelle. Honestly, it's
Mm.
just, it's the only way I live now. I don't have any other concerns outside of what I want to create for myself anymore. But I
Oh,
was
I 100%.
in the trap. I was in the trap for a long time.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree. And I think we've all been in that situation, and I think once you learn how to, and I will say it, once you learn how to manipulate that energy to work for you, is when you start to learn how easy and joyful everything can happen. And you talk about that. So you call it the quantum field. Can you just explain to the listeners what quantum field is, and how you communicate with it yourself, and how others can learn to communicate with their quantum field and work with that information?
Yeah, so the quantum field to me is the unified field. It's where all creation exists, unlimited creation. Even things that I think of, the only reason I can think of it is because it's already been created somewhere in this field, right? And so this quantum field is continually communicating with you. Now, most people are communicating on an unconscious level.
Mm,
And to be fair to them, they don't even know they're doing it, right? And so everything that's happening in their life, the universe really doesn't have a good and a bad side. It doesn't say, well, Michelle's good and Brenda's bad, and we're going to give Michelle more. Whatever
mm,
you're emitting out, whatever energetic frequency you're holding within you, the universe just gives you a mirror of that. It manifests that in people, places, things, right?
mm,
And so this field is so magical. Once you get out of blaming or victimhood, and you start living from a place of everything happens for me, not to me, that alone, that one, living by that rule every day, show me, universe, show me where I'm out of alignment. because those things are showing up in your field to bring your awareness. People in your life that are showing up in a way that doesn't suit you, if it bothers you, if it triggers you, if there gets an emotion in you, it's a version of you that they're showing you. And instead of judging out and looking at them, because we can't change the other person, we can say, what are they showing me about myself right now? Where am I stuck? Why am I seeing this? Coming back to that self-awareness starts a new co-creation with the unified field, which is quite magical. And once I started tapping into it, I actually started seeing my script of my life repeating all around me wherever I would go. I would go to a coffee shop, and a mantra that I just worked on, the lady behind the counter would like say it to somebody else behind the counter. And I started noticing I would turn on a movie, and everything I had worked on over the weekend with my affirmations, the script on the movie was talking about everything that I'm going through verbatim. And so I started seeing Mandela effects to where I could see me timeline jumping. So I remember the first time that Abraham Hicks said, you need to be tuned in, tapped in, and turned on. I thought, what is she talking about? And so I started practicing it, and poof, I was in the quantum field, right? And once you're in it, you can kind of see how the whole structure works. And to get to that level, you've got to do a lot of dismantling, is my word. I dismantle the program that is kind of keeping people in the prison of the mind, right? I take them out of that program and drop them into the heart, because everybody has the ability to tap into this inner wisdom. But, you know, the world is chaotic and noisy, and everybody's busy, and they're all being beautiful humans and doing wonderful things. And that's very loud. And the soul's whisper, it's very small, it's very subtle, because you have to want to tune into it. You have free will. But look, I mean, it's your birthright to tap into the quantum field and co-create with the very thing that created you, right? And if you can start to dismantle what's blocking you from where you want to go, I can assure you that once you've dismantled what's kind of been blinders, the doors are already open waiting for you. You just have to become a vibrational match to actually have the conscious awareness to see it. But it's all here. Everything we've ever wanted or thought about, or anything we've ever going to invent, is already in the unlimited field, the unified field that anybody can have access to, right? But everybody has their own belief systems. And if you don't believe it's possible, then the universe will keep giving you what you do believe is possible. But you're always in control of it, is I guess what I need to say. You're always in control of all your experiences, but you've got to get past that anything's wrong with you, get past the guilt and the shame of anything that you've ever experienced was wrong. There is no right or wrong. Everything just is. Everything is here in the present moment. When you bring your awareness to the present moment, you'll actually find that your past, present, and future are all intertwining simultaneously and working with you, right? And we could talk about that too, but it's being in the present moment, not criticizing something you did yesterday, a year ago, or 10 years ago.
And it's very much around when you learn to listen to that inner voice, your intuitive self, however you like to define it, within your own space or quantum field. It's then recognizing the messages that you're getting, the signs that you're seeing, and it can be done in so many different ways. Often in my experience, a lot of people who begin to open up, or, you know, awaken is sort of the catch cry everybody uses. That's when you start to see those little synchronicities, you know, the 1111s and the triple numbers. And it starts off very subtly. And the more you then open to the energy, the louder those messages become. So when you're working with your clients, what are you asking them to look for and recognize? And then how do you ask them to respond to that, but in a really grounded way? Because I think sometimes that people can get lost in the language of spirituality, and they seem to sort of go off on those tangents where at the end of the day, it's more around being grounded and staying, well in tune to what you're getting. Don't let that overwhelm you.
Yeah, I don't really use the term a lot, spirituality, in my practice, even though it's a part of spirituality. I don't like labeling too many things. I feel like it's more of a remembrance. We're remembering how powerful we are. We're remembering how divinely beautiful we are. And we're remembering how unique and how we have a part in this big puzzle piece of life, right? And so with clients that are just, once we've dismantled a few of the illusions, the programs, right, that's kind of been trapping them to this certain belief system, and they have free will, they want to start opening up and playing with the field. I let it look. I have a lot of fun. I talk out loud to the universe all day and everywhere I go. And I just, if I see 11:11 at a coffee shop, I tell everybody in the room, oh my gosh, it's 11:11. And they all look at me like I'm nuts, right? And they're like, why are you so happy? I go, oh my God, it's such a blessing. What a message. I needed that today. And they go, well, how do I get a message? I go, oh, anybody can. Just look it up. And then I leave. And so that kind of stuff happens to me all the time because I embody this and I'm not going to hide it, right? This is how I work with the field. And so, Michelle, it's like a scavenger hunt, I tell my clients. And so maybe you're going to have a dream that gives you a metaphoric message, right? A lot of dreams coming up lately for my clients are being in a public bathroom, going pee, and having somebody look over the stall, and or being out in the middle of a field on a toilet and wondering why you're going to the bathroom in the middle of a field, right? And so those dreams are metaphors to come in, as above so below. They're coming in because that your guides, who God, creator, whoever you're talking to, the divine, is giving you puzzle pieces because you're here on earth school, and if they gave you the answers, it'd be time to go home, right? We wouldn't have any reason to continue. So you'll get a dream like that. And let's say the one in the stall is this person doesn't know how to set boundaries in their life, right? And that's how the metaphor will show up. And the person in the middle of the field on the toilet is is afraid to be vulnerable in their relationships, right? And so you put your guides will put you out in the middle of the field, but you've got to learn how to break down. I tell people, stop taking life so literally. Don't be so serious. Have fun with it. It's a scavenger hunt. Pick up your pieces, get your angel number 1212 and 333 for the day, right? And if you're getting 1212 and you're getting 33, 12 and 12, you can look up that number, but it's also 33, and that's things come in twice, right? And so I tell the universe, give me everything twice and make it crystal clear and don't let me miss it. I want my messages. Today is how I started out, right? So we collect all these little synchronicities, their favorite music. I tell them, you've heard that song 100 times. Listen to it differently. The lyrics are going to give you a message. All these things, when you start writing them, they'll tell a story. And that's bringing your awareness to yourself in this game that we're playing, this beautiful constructed game that you are a co-creator in every single day, all day long. And if you want to change your life, you have to start co-creating with the field. You have to embody it. You have to be a vibrational match for what you want to reach you. And so your thoughts, how you speak, and your feelings must all match. And when they don't, you've got to know which one's out of alignment, and you got to start questioning it and find out why it's out of alignment and reprogram it with mantras and affirmations and action plans.
And I think so many people hear us talk about, you have to be in alignment, and I think it feels daunting when you're not familiar with the words, the jargon that we tend to use, but it's really so easy.
It really
It's just
is.
a matter of re-implementing those foundational practices consistently, and you move really fast.
You do move really fast. And I make a game of that. I tell my clients, stop taking it so serious. This isn't something to study. This is something to embody.
Yeah.
This This isn't a diet that you're going to start and then in 6 weeks you're going to say no. This is an embodiment. This is how you're going to move through time and space, and you're going to start creating the reality that you want, right? And you manifest in real time. I mean, it's absolute magic. And when I
Mm.
realized that I was the one creating the magic, I just kept stepping it up, right? And you want to share the magic. So you want to teach it to those that are ready to receive it. But I mean, look, we're just planting seeds. If people aren't ready to receive something, something you say in a session or I say, or one of my courses, it's planting a seed. And then they'll read a book and they'll hear another podcast. Something will activate in them when their soul is ready to show them another level. And all those things will add up and they'll go, oh, that person 5 years ago. Oh, that one session. Oh, I see now what they meant. And that's the magic. Let that all happen. Don't be in a hurry. Don't try to rush your ascension to your conscious awareness. Allow the conscious awareness to unfold, because the soul is the one on the mission, right? You're just really watching
You're
it
just
all.
the vessel.
You're
Mm.
you're the one witnessing this magic happening, right? And when you can get out of controlling everything and allowing, I don't know how, but I allow. When you can
Mm.
live from that, everything just starts to reveal itself.
Mm.
And that's what expands your awareness. Conscious awareness is inside and it starts expanding and opening and opening and opening more. And there's levels and levels and levels and levels. And just when you think you got there and you know everything, you don't know anything, because you wake up tomorrow and it's like, whoa, I don't know anything, right? But you
Mm.
know a lot more than you did a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And you're kind of empowered with, oh, I'm going to keep learning more layers. Now you're not fearing it. You're open and allowing it. And it's absolutely delicious to play with the universe. It really is. It's fun. At
Mm.
least
Oh, definitely.
fun.
Yeah.
I
Once
think
you
it's
once you
fun.
know how to do it, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Um, so before we wrap up and talking about learning, you've got lots of self-paced courses available to people. Can you just run us through what some of those are? And we'll also put all that information in the show notes as well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I found when I was in session that people were really interested in learning how to dismantle some of the programming. The mind is picked up since they were a little kid. And it's
Mm.
just running on autopilot. It's like a record just running. And so I realized in one or two sessions, maybe they weren't getting it as quick as they wanted to. And so I thought, oh, I just need to put this in courses, so that if they want to
Mm.
do a session and then they want to do a self-paced course for a couple months, and then maybe they want to just come in and do a check-in session to kind of go to the next level. So it inspired me to do 4 courses. And the first one is Mastering Your Triggers. And it's really becoming a master communicator, because every trigger, everything that triggers you in your life is offering you a gift. So I tell people, run towards people that trigger you, because they're trying to show you what's in you. And for once and all, to see it's in you, to stop projecting it out and to look inside and get the gift that the trigger can give you. You can only get those gifts by shining the light on yourself, right? And that's the first one. The second course is called Your Vibration Matters. And we are creating our reality at every moment. And this course really takes you through how to um, really balance your vibration, to be fully consciously aware every day of what you're thinking, saying, and feeling, which is creating a ripple effect to come back to you, right? And the third course is called Mirror Reflections, discovering yourself and others, because everybody is a mirror reflection of you. We are all one. We come from the one source, and we're all here helping the one come back to remembrance of how powerful we are as a whole community. But it's really that one light that's in all of us that has the power. And the fourth one is Signs and Synchronicities, which is decoding this magical language of this incredible universe and knowing how to recognize not only one or two signs, but how to put them all together to get the story that source of all is trying to help you remember who you really are. And so those 4 courses are online, they're lifetime access, they're self-paced. A couple of them are 5 weeks, but you do it at your own pace. And There's no grading. Don't grade yourself. Just do it at
Not a
your
test.
no, and just they're 20-minute lessons. They're really easy. And then there's tools and they're really lovely. And you can do them from your phone or your computer and it tracks everything. And it's, I'm very proud of them. They're just lovely courses. Yeah.
And they're those foundational things that I talk about a lot too. I mean, I think, again, I think a lot of people, we use that word triggers a lot today.
Yeah.
And I think people fail to understand that what annoys you, the thing that something does that continually annoys you, is actually not about them. It's about you. And why
Every
is it
time.
annoying you? And I've done masterclasses as well around the difference between responding and reacting. When you have something or someone annoy you and you raise up, that's your reaction. It's then when we talk about that awareness piece, it's then going, okay, stop. What on earth did they just say or do that upset me so much and why? And I've said this in many other conversations because the person standing right beside me heard exactly the same thing I heard and they didn't react at all. It was like it wasn't even said. So what do I need to look at in me that upset me so much? And then how do I respond? And sometimes responding is just take a deep breath, turn around and walk away.
Take a deep breath, take a pause. Me and I have a really good friend. We call ourselves the trigger tribe because and by the way, you're always going to get triggered. It's how you level up. There's a gift in every trigger. There's another layer of you that you're peeling back to see how great you are, right? It doesn't all just open at once, right? And so when we get triggered or we trigger each other, we just breathe. We take a pause. We breathe. We don't say any words. We sit in it. And that pause allows us, and then we both do the same thing, right? We're both mirroring each other because we're so similar that we can trigger each other sometimes. And we're like high five each other. We made it through another one. And now we have the self-awareness of, oh, I do that. Oh, you do too. But that's why I love you because we're a mirror. We're identical, right? I have to love all parts of you, not just the little things that I love all the time. We have to love all parts of ourselves and all parts of people, right? So that trigger in that moment to be able to witness yourself not reacting and responding even with a silence or a pause is magic. It's golden because it could be that day or the next day or a couple days later, you'll see the bigger picture as to even why that unraveled. And that's your gift that comes. Look, we're all
And
just looking for expanded awareness. That's all we are is conscious awareness, right? That's all we
and
are.
I say to people, when you can understand why it annoys you, because that annoyance doesn't just happen in that moment. The annoyance usually becomes something that you keep playing over and over in your head that whole day. And then you constantly try to think, oh, if only I'd said this, or if only I'd said that. And it becomes a one-upmanship in your
Yeah,
own story of what happened. That is
yeah.
exhausting.
It's
Like,
exhausting.
it's
Yeah.
exhausting. And
Yeah. And you
when you
know
can
what?
learn,
Yeah. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, when you can learn to look at it from that perspective that we're discussing, all of that exhaustion disappears and you just end up going, oh, okay, walk away. And then you just go on with what you were doing.
Yeah. So I tell all my clients, and by the way, nobody likes to hear this. The conflict is always within.
Oh, always.
Always, right? And if you can say that to somebody and they're ready and prepared to hear that, there's some magic in witnessing that the conflict is within you. There's accountability to that, but there's magic that comes from that because the gift will unwrap in that moment that you go, oh my gosh, not only is it in me right now, it's been in me my whole life. And every person that I've had a conflict, it was always me, and they were helping me come back to the fact that it was me. And the minute you do that, it's gone. It's gone like the wind. It's gone like the wind because you're just like, oh, I'm so free from that now, right? So triggers are
And
your
it's
friend. Run towards people that trigger you because they're going to give you a gift.
that's right. And it's not it's not a criticism or a judgment. Like when someone recognizes it in you and goes, why did you react like that? Or when you're being mentored and your mentor says, okay, so why did you react like that? And suddenly it's put back on you. It's actually not a criticism, because what it's doing is those inner reactions that you have been planted there from possibly childhood. It could be from something that you learned through your upbringing or from your community. It can even be stuff, and I spoke about this in a podcast I did yesterday on past life regression. It can be things that you've brought back in with you from past life experiences. So it's not anything to feel offensive or defensive and critical about. It's about recognizing, where did this come from and why am I carrying it, so I can heal it and let it go.
Yeah, so it gives you such freedom. And the judgment thing is just everybody. It's self-judgment, but it's projected out, and then it creates these scenarios that don't exist in anybody else's mind. I mean, look, nobody sees you the way you see yourself. Nobody can, right? And so when you stop having self-judgment, nobody else will judge you, right? Because you're just a reflection of what they see. But if you have 20 friends and you see yourself a certain way, those 20 friends do not see you the way you see yourself. They have created a vision of you inside their own construct of their belief system, and they're projecting that out. And when you show up a different way, they go, wait a minute, you're supposed to be this way, right? You really start seeing that when you start leveling up and people want to keep you stuck in their comfort zone. And you got to get out of your own comfort zone to have growth, and you got to get out of other people's comfort zones for your own growth. And so if you stop worrying what anybody thinks, because you have no idea what they think and they're constantly changing and you can't please them, you start working on your self-judgment by deleting it and have full acceptance for who you are, you're going to start seeing how magnificent you are. You're going to see that nobody is like you. There never was supposed to be another you. And so you don't need to compare yourselves against anybody or anything, because you're figuring it out as you go along, and you're free to do that. Yeah.
That's right. And, and it's when you can start looking at life that way, it becomes so much more fun and interesting, because
Really
I don't know
cool.
if you do it, but I do it. I test it all the time. I'm always testing it, and I'm always going, okay, so why did that happen? And then next thing I get downloads and I'm like, oh, okay, that's why that happened. So it's around learning to play with the energy and not take any of it seriously, as hard as that may
No,
sound. If you're listening, as hard
take
as
it
that may sound.
personal.
Yeah,
Yeah. Don't take anything personal. Don't take anything literal. Nothing is as it seems. Nothing is as it seems.
no.
It's just a big playground, and you're the co-creator of it. And start using your power. Start testing your power, your abilities, and co-create a life that you want to dream of. Yeah.
Yeah, just play with it.
Play with it.
So this conversation, as all of these conversations are, we could sit around for hours, talking about this stuff, or I know I could. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you want to find out more about Brenda, I'll put all of her information in the show notes. You can find her online courses at attunedguidance.com. But again, the links will be in the show notes. And if you enjoyed this episode, please follow Soul Loom, share it with anybody that you think may also be interested. If you want to leave a comment about this topic, or if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments, and I can get the information to Brenda, and we'll definitely get answers for you. And if you'd love to explore any of this in future conversations, you know where to find me. And until next time, keep listening, keep weaving, and keep coming home to yourselves. Thank you so much for today, Brenda.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.